President Trump is winning. There is simply no other way to fairly interpret the fact that he's just hit a new high in his approval rating. Even better for Trump, he's officially more popular than his predecessor Barack Obama was at the exact same stage of his first tenure as president. According to the NBC Wall Street Journal poll, Trump is now at 47% approval, compared to Obama's 45% 2 weeks before the midterm elections in 2010. Given all the fire, brimstone and perpetual outrage about Trump since he won the White House, this is a truly remarkable state of affairs. And of course, America's liberals will respond to the shock poll in the way they respond to all things Trump, with fury, incredulity, and by sticking their collective heads in the sand. How can this be happening? They will wail uncontrollably. What the FK is wrong with people who like him? They will howl into each other's kale salads. This is the end of planet Earth, they will sob, in their normal understated manner. All of which will be music to the ears of Trump, a man who absolutely revels in liberal hysteria because he knows it works for him, as this new poll proves. The more Trump bashers scream abuse at and about him, the more it fires up his base, and indeed, the more it fires up Trump himself. After all, at his heart, the president's a street-fighting New Yorker who loves a good scrap. And in 2 weeks' time, he may deliver the biggest knockout punch of his presidency. Until recently, it was widely assumed the Republicans would lose control of the House of Representatives in the midterm elections. It was being depicted as a damning referendum on Trump, and historically, most presidents, like Obama, take a whack in the midterms. But now, I'm not so sure. In fact, I'd say there's a very good chance the Republicans will hang on to the House, as well as the Senate, and Trump will move on empowered and emboldened to what could very well be an even bigger win in 2020. Why is this happening? Well, first, the US mainstreamed media has become the boy that cried wolf. Their constant collective outrage over every tiny thing Trump says, tweets, or does, much of it driven by commercial self-interest, has had the inevitable effect of diluting the impact of that outrage. Barely a week goes by without some supposed new Trump crisis is fueling wall-to-wall cable news coverage and dire predictions of impeachment or even jail time for the president. Yet within a few days, each administration-threatening scandal dissolves into a giant nothing burger. Liberal celebrities are just as bad, relentlessly shrieking away on social media about their hatred for Trump, seemingly oblivious to the fact that nobody cares anymore. We just assume all celebrities hate him because they think it's cool to do so. The effect of this endless hysterical cacophony, as I have repeatedly warned, has been to make Trump ever more popular with his base and with the GOP. More significantly, as this poll suggests, it's also begun to move moderates with no particularly animated view of Trump more to a place of tolerating him. And that's terrible news for the Democrats, because their only game plan with Trump is to abuse him and rely on mockery and sneering as an election strategy. It's the same flawed, arrogant and elitist mentality that led to Hillary Clinton branding Trump supporters a basket of deplorables in a speech that I still believe did more than anything else to lose her the election. I look at the Democrats today and see a party that's learned absolutely nothing about how to beat Trump. And I see a president who's growing stronger by the day. Trump's become a political Godzilla, crushing everyone who dares challenge him and bulldozing his way through an agenda that is beginning to pay real dividends. In less than 2 years, Trump's got 2 nominees onto the Supreme Court, entrenching a conservative majority. He's slashed taxes and regulations, sparking a boom in the U.S. economy that shows no sign of stopping, a surge in jobs and record-low unemployment. Trump's forged a peaceful dialogue with North Korea, launched a trade war with China that many think is long overdue, withdrawn from the obviously flawed Iran nuclear deal and Trans-Pacific Partnership, forced Mexico and Canada to update NAFTA, bullied NATO countries into paying their bills, and bombed ISIS out of Iraq and Syria. He's also clamped down hard on illegal immigration. As I write this, a caravan of more than 7,000 Central American migrants, most of them from Honduras, is moving towards the southern border. They intend trying to enter the United States illegally. It's hard to think of a more powerful image to vindicate Trump's much-criticized demand for a new wall, isn't it? As he tweeted, full efforts are being made to stop the onslaught of illegal aliens from crossing our southern border. The caravans are a disgrace to the Democrat Party. Change the immigration laws now. Trump clearly believes this caravan will help Republicans in the midterms, and so do I. Expect to see the president down on that border very soon, playing Mr. Tough Guy. The combined effect of all these wins, obviously this is a subjective word, if you're a Democrat, is that Trump enters this election in an increasingly dominant position as a president who is doing exactly what he said he'd do. I also think he's a president who's beginning to really enjoy himself. When I saw him several months ago for an interview aboard Air Force One, I was struck by how relaxed and confident he seemed. He exuded an air of someone who'd worked out how Washington works, or rather, doesn't, and how to play the broken, highly partisan system to his advantage. As for Special Counsel Robert Mueller's investigation into Russian collusion, all the signs suggest this may soon deliver a massive damn squib. Of course, Trump remains a hugely divisive and polarizing figure with a penchant for flying loose with the truth and heavy on the inflammatory rhetoric. But love him or loathe him, there is no denying that he's winning. So once again, I can only advise the Democrats to stop their ridiculously self-defeating state of perpetual Trump outrage and work out how they're actually going to beat him. Because right now, Trump's kicking your A.